Now we're going back to one of our new segments that's really popular. It's called The Power of Family, not starring Dominic Toretto. So this is part 2, where I watched The Fast and the Furious 2, Electric Boogaloo. And this one does not feature Dominic Toretto.
No.
So this is Paul Walker's movie. You remember Brian, because Brian's the badass. He's the cop in the first one. Now, Christine did not watch this with me. I asked her to, but she refused. But I'm going to convince her throughout this series that she needs to watch these movies with me. And these are great, because I've never seen most of these before. So we'll watch number 2, never seen it before. Let's see what we got on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think this is one of the more liked Fast and Furious movies.
I don't like to see nice cars getting smashed up.
It's not about that. It's all about... It's about street racing. It's all about racing and fancy cars there. So, Too Fast, Too Furious has a 37% rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes and a 50% audience score.
And you really wanted me to watch it.
I had a fun time with it.
I went upstairs and I think I finished watching alone.
Okay.
I came down all ready to watch something. And I'm like, what are we watching? I'm going back upstairs.
Movie starts off. Okay?
Yes.
And, by the way, so even though this is Paul Walker's movie, because they made profit on the last one, so they're making a sequel, he's not looking the best in this movie, okay? He's not Hollywood, maintaining 2% body fat, okay? He's still looking good, but you see he's wearing t-shirts all the time. He's not Hollywood thin.
Driving a car all the time. He's not, walking places.
Well, they do other stuff.
It's not
they're
running.
not always
He's
in a car
all the time.
But anyway, and also a lot of this movie, I think because they were trying to make it cheaper, so much of this movie is green screen and compositing. And it's really noticeable.
Oh.
There's a lot of it. They're having scenes where they're talking on a boardwalk or talking on a beach, or talking in front of a mechanic shop, and it's all green screen. Oh. And I'm like, didn't they build any sets? I guess they spent it all on the cars. So Dominic Toretto doesn't make an appearance in this, and neither does Letty, which is Michelle Rodriguez's character.
Aren't they the main characters of this whole saga? Okay.
But we get Paul Walker's back as Brian, and we get Tyrese Gibson. I think this is his first appearance because he wasn't in the first one, and he plays, what's his character's name? Roman Pierce. He's one of the guys that's in most of these movies. So he first appears in the second one.
Okay.
So get this. This movie starts off, and these random people are driving around, and guys in their cars, and there's all these women, wearing their bikinis and their shorts, because it's LA, it's hot. Anyway, and they're setting up roadblocks everywhere.
Are the guys wearing bikinis because it's hot?
They're wearing very scrimpy clothing because it's hot, okay? They're in their tank tops. They're wearing their shorts.
That's the movie I want to see, when the guys are wearing the bikinis.
So they're setting up roadblocks with construction signs and pylons everywhere.
Yes.
Okay? Why? Because we're doing another street race, right? So Tej, who was in the first one, I believe that's Ludacris. Okay, that's his character, Tej. He comes out of this mechanic shop with this giant afro, and I'm like, yes, I love it.
Do they have spotters with walkie-talkies and stuff? Because that's how you're supposed to do it.
They might have. I don't know.
See, they're not doing it
right. Comes out with this, and he's getting things started. Okay, there's 3 cars there, and they're all talking trash to each other because they're gonna race, right? So what does Ludacris do? Calls up Brian. Hey, Brian, you want to come in a street race? He's like, yeah, I need the money, right? Because
there's money involved?
That's what it's all about. They always bet, okay? Oh. They're always betting thousands of dollars.
I thought it was more about who's faster.
Or their cars.
It's why do you run races?
Okay, and get this. So he needs the cash. Why does he need the cash? He's a cop, right? Anyway, Brian shows up, and one of the other characters... What is her name? There's this other character, her name's Suki, and she's got this pink convertible, and it's all pimped up. It's great.
So this is a commercialized business? They're not just people hanging out on a Saturday night having fun to see whose car is the best?
No, that's what they're doing.
But they're betting on it?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Street racing. That's what this franchise is all about. Okay, that's the main thing.
Drag in your nice car.
Anyway, Brian shows up. Now, if I hear that Brian is coming, I'm not really too worried, okay? That's not exactly the toughest name, okay? If I hear Dominic Toretto's gonna be like, oh geez. But anyway, Brian shows up, and then one of the characters, Suki, she's like, oh shit, Brian's here. Like, oh no. I'm like, really? Brian is
driving?
Yeah, so Brian shows up because he's the badass now. And he shows up in his pimped out street racing car. And so he's the badass. So he shows up, which means, oh crap, he's probably going to win, right? Of course, he's the main character. Now, so there's a 4-way race.
Okay.
Brian wins it by using the double NOS. But here's the interesting thing. They have this giant race throughout LA. It's crazy. And it goes on way to... So within 10 minutes of the movie starting, you're street racing.
Okay.
Great. But Ludacris and the crew, they take a bridge and they raise one side of it.
Right.
Okay? And that's like the end.
It's a canal.
So they have to jump over it. So they have to go up the ramp and jump, right?
It's like to let boats through?
Yeah, but they only raise one side of the bridge.
Okay.
Okay? So Brian's in second by the time it gets to near the end of the race here.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
And the other guy, he uses his NOS and then he's going over. Brian does the double NOS and goes over him from behind as they're going over. And then he wins the race. The second place guy crashes. Then Suki comes in and she does the NOS over the bridge. She comes in second. And the other guy who was all talk at the beginning, he wusses out and doesn't even jump. Okay. Anyway, it's great. Brian collects the money, and just then there's a mysterious woman that's there, and she starts to flirt with him. But then the cops show up. Damn, right? The cops are cock blocking them now.
Probably be more like municipal workers would be showing
up. But get this. So Brian is racing away in his car.
Yeah.
And there's a detective that takes him down. Why? Because he's got future tech. He's got this like big cannon that he shoots this 3-pronged trident into the side of his car, and it's got these 3 prongs, and if all 3 enable, sends like an electric burst and disables the car.
Oh, not his car, someone else's car. So it's a potato cannon.
Yeah, but it shoots this like trident thing that disables his car.
If you shot a potato at them, it would disable them too, I guess. You know, there's 10 of these movies, right?
Anyway, there's 11, including the spin-off.
You know, I got one for number 12. You know what it needs to be? Transformers. Like spin-off, like Transformers and the Fast and
Furious. Well, they are making Fast X Part 2.
That should be the movie.
Anyway, so after the cops interrogate him, and then they're interrogating him because he's no longer a cop. He got fired. Because he let Dominic Toretto get away at the end of the first one. Gave him his car, so he lost his badge.
He doesn't have a job.
So that's why he needs the cash. And that's why he's street racing all the time for cash. For thousands of dollars. Okay? So they're interrogating him, and then within 2 minutes they're like, okay, you're working for us now. Okay, sure. Doesn't make any sense. Okay? But he demands Roman Pierce is his second driver to work on this plan with them. So they have to go recruit him. They recruit him at a speedway, like a smash-up derby. He's just driving there, smashing up cars. Okay, that's fun. But he's got an ankle bracelet on. He's not allowed to go like more than 100 yards from his residence. But his residence is a trailer that he just parks beside the speedway.
I think they do look into that.
He walks around with his ankle bracelets on. Okay, so that was funny.
Because everyone would say that they lived in a trailer.
So that's the problem, okay? They all got records, and they're like, I don't want to work with you. Oh, and these two hate each other. Brian and Roman, they hate each other. But they have to work with each other because Roman got busted, okay, for street racing. Did Brian bust him? No, but he blames them anyway because he was a cop.
Sounds like they've all been busted at one time.
Anyway, they agree to work with the cops, and, they're working with LAPD, but guess who else they're working for? Last time they worked with the FBI. Now who are they working for? They're working with U.S. Customs. Sure.
Okay.
And they go to the U.S. Customs office.
But they're all in LA. It's not like they're going out of...
Anyway, they gotta get their records expunged, right?
Okay.
So then Brian meets this mysterious woman again, because she's working with them too, right? Although... I don't think she's a cop. I think she's an informant that she's working with the bad guy. Okay? And they get 2 new cars from the customs office. These 2 new street racing cars.
Okay.
So they take them out and go and have fun, right? They drive, and whenever they drive somewhere, They drive fast and they drive furious. They don't just go down for a stroll. They have to have a race every time. Every time. There's constantly racing, right? So this new woman is Monica Fuentes, who's played by Ava Mendez, if you know who she is there. There she is there.
Okay.
Oh, it's Monica Clemente, it says here, but I don't know, maybe they changed the name. Okay, so they go and they meet up with these 5 badass dudes who all have their own individual cars, right? And at one point there's a Fonzie joke, you know, because we all love the Fonz here. We've been seeing a lot of Fonzie references lately. Anyway, they all go and meet some douchebag rich guy. Okay, what's his name? Who cares? He's a terrible dude. He's the bad guy, right? So they go meet up with him, and they want to get this job. In order to get this job, they have to test for it. They have to go do this test. He sends them on a quest, and in order to go, before they go, they have to give them their driver's licenses, and they do. Okay, so they give Monica all their driver's licenses, and then they have to race off. They have to get to the impound lot.
I'm very bored already.
And get something out of an impounded Ferrari. Okay? So that, once again, it's street racing time, right? So they have this big race to get to the, on the freeway. There's a bunch of CGI effects through a car, which is quite interesting. You see a tracking device because the customs guys are tracking them. Okay? And the cops think they're going rogue, that they're running, but they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, okay? Right. One driver is killed by 2 trucks. He gets smashed in between 2 trucks.
That happens on the highway.
Yeah.
You're speeding.
Brian shows off he's driving in reverse at one point. He's just showing off, and Tyrese Gibson is like, "What are you doing, buddy? Right. Come on."
What kind of cars are they driving in this?
All these decked out street racing cars. They have different cars all the time because ones get busted up.
Or new cars, like new type of cars.
Both.
Like Mitsubishi.
Some of the guys have old classic cars, and some of them have like just regular cars that get zooped up. Like at one time they're driving a zooped up Mitsubishi. In the first one, I think they were driving zooped up Honda Civics. Okay, remember those black cars I told you about? Anyway, they bust into the impound lot to get the package. They just drive through the gate. Then the cops show up, so they got to get... Okay, go back to the rich guy. They got it. It turns out it wasn't even his car. And so he just wanted to test them. And so they get the job. Yay!
Now I'm bored. I'm just bored.
Okay. Anyway, the rich guy owns the impound lot. It's a transporting job, and they're going to get paid 100 G's each. And then he invites them to a party that night.
Of course.
Sure. Roman's pissed off and keeps acting like a hard ass towards this guy. Sure. Brian and Roman got a mechanic garage they go to a mechanic garage at the harbor. Okay? At the harbor, and there's this big party going on because they're racing boats. Sure. Okay? And Ludacris is back. Tej is running. He's running it, taking bets and everything, but his afro's gone now. Now he's just got like a fishing cap on. But somehow his huge afro is underneath it. Okay.
Could be.
Sure. Anyway, and that's when they find out that they got tracking devices in their cars. So they're like, crap, these cars are hot. These cars are too hot. We got to get rid of them.
Okay.
So what do? They go... Hold on. Update me. We learned that Brian lost his badge because he let Dominic Toretto go. Roman and Brian argue over an exit strategy of this terrible job that they're in because the cops are screwing them over, right?
Okay.
So here's what they do. They go and they go. There are 2 of the guys that they were racing that survived this test that they beat.
Yes.
What they do is they have a street race with them so that they can win their cars.
Oh.
So they bet their cars.
Really stupid. A guy that's into that would not lose their. Not agree to that.
But get this. So the race it's a there and back twice race. Okay. So one guy from each team. Because there's 2 guys on each team, right?
Okay.
So one guy go, so the 2 of them go, they come back, and then the other guys go and come back, right? So, and this is way over the top street racing, and it's fun. You should check these out. It's hilarious.
Not for me at all.
So, Roman goes first, and when he comes back, he's way behind, right? So what happens is Brian goes when Roman finally gets back, he goes, and the other guy's way ahead of him, right? In fact, he's on his way back. So what does he do?
Shoot the potato cannon at him?
No, he does something here. Hold on, blah, blah, blah. Roman loses his race. Oh, Brian plays chicken with the guy as he's coming back. He plays chicken with him and wins. So the guy crashes, and then he comes back, and the guy's trying to get back, and then uses his nos, and he wins the race, and they win their cars. Yay! That's just a side story.
People that work on these cars like that would not give their car up in a race. Like,
Okay.
that's just not what's
So
gonna happen.
that's what they were doing. Then they show up at this slutty party that they were invited to from the rich guy. Okay? And they meet Brian and Monica, have a little bit of moment because they're just chatting. And then the rich guy gets upset and he's treating her like dirt. In fact, she's kind of like his prisoner, which really sucks for her. This guy's not a good dude, okay? He's like beating women
Women
and
are
killing
not
people.
represented very well in these movies.
Okay. Anyway, they have to go and torture this detective. This is Detective Whitmore.
Cops are not.
In order to get a
represented
15-minute window for this job that he hires them for. Because the transporting job, he has to transport something from LA to Miami. All the way across the country, right? And they gotta have a race to do it, right? Sure, why not?
Train?
Okay.
Have you heard of a train before?
Anyway, there's this weird torture scene that they're forced to watch. Essentially, it's reinforcing that the bad guy is really bad. He's a rich dick, right? Okay. Brian's crashing at his houseboat. Monica is there and tells him he'll be killed after the job, so he's sleeping with her. And so the rich guy's gonna double cross him. As soon as they finish the job, he's gonna kill them. Oh no! So they have to team up with these two hired goons from earlier that I thought were cops, but they're actually goons that are working for the rich guy.
Okay.
Okay, they meet up with the cops again that they're working with. They get new cell phones. They're forced to go with the plan. There's a bromance moment on the dock between Brian and Roman. They have a nice bromance. It's like, yeah, it wasn't your fault, buddy, that I got arrested. It was my own fault. Yeah, it's cool. Anyway, good bromance. They're friends now, okay? Let's see. Brian and Roman meet with the hired goons at a trailer park to get the money. They don't get their 15-minute window. So the detective that got tortured, he reneges on. He's like, no, I'm going to take these guys down. So it's a big chase with the cops, right? There's two helicopters. The cops have a helicopter and the U.S. Customs have a helicopter, and they almost crash at one point. Everyone's out for themselves, right?
I mean, a helicopter would solve all of this problem because you would see all these people street racing to begin with, or just a simple drone. And a train could get a car from LA to Florida.
At one point, the customs guys they pull out their future tech gun and shoot Brian's car with the future tech trident to disable his car.
Oh my god.
Okay, and he has to lean out and pull it out because it hasn't enabled yet, so he pulls it out. I'm like, this is crazy, ridiculous.
Steal the battery, for God's sakes.
Oh, they drive into this gigantic warehouse. So apparently they're already in Florida, I guess. Or maybe they're still in LA. Not clear. They drive into this gigantic storage warehouse because there's all these garage doors. And the doors close, right? And then hundreds of cop cars show up and they block them in, right? So what happens? Doors open up and 6 giant pickup trucks come out.
Okay.
And run over
Maybe
the cops.
In Texas, then.
And run over the cops and take them out. And then hundreds of cars, all their friends from the street racing, including the people that lost, they all come out and they're going everywhere. Right?
Okay.
And then the 2 cars that Brian and Roman are driving, they come out too, and the cops track them. Turns out it's not them. They switch cars, which was smart on their part. Okay? They show up in Florida.
Okay.
All of a sudden.
Yes.
Like, just like that, they show up in Florida. Roman uses but they still have the hired goons with them, ones with each of them. So Roman, he uses his passenger ejector seat to ditch his guy.
That's a common thing in a car.
Yeah, he just throws him in the swamp in Florida there. And he's like, yeah, I got rid of him. Okay, Brian meets with the rich psycho, hands over the money. Rich guy learns that Monica is a rat and takes her hostage. He was pretty much treating her like a hostage prisoner anyway. Okay? Come on, this is good stuff, right? This is some good drama.
I'm so glad I didn't watch it, but maybe...
So Brian's not doing so good. Then Roman shows up to save him. They drive to save Monica. So just as the bad guy's getting away on his huge yacht, luckily there's a road right beside the bay as they're going out.
Boat. they have a car and he's in a boat.
Yeah, but they're driving out of the bay or down this river or estuary on the side of Florida there, but there's a road going right beside. So they race along, and what do? There's a ramp up ahead, hit the nos, and they land on the boat. Yeah, it's so wacky.
Does the boat sink?
Okay.
They all sink?
Then, no, it just lands on top of it and crashes the top level. Because it's like several levels, this yacht. It
wouldn't matter if it would have sunk it.
So the rich guy shows up. They got to kill him. They shoot him in the shoulder. Monica shows up with a shotgun and takes him out. So she takes him down. I'm guessing she's a cop, but it's really not clear who she's working for. The U.S. Customs, they take all the money that they were transporting.
Right.
And the rich guy, and they expunge their records. So they did keep their word, right?
Okay.
Roman steals some of the cash, though. He, like, stuffs it down his pants and then pulls up his shirt. And he's like, look, all the money I got. And they're going to use that money to open up a garage in Florida. It's going to be the bromance shop, right?
Is there any gay guys in this?
Mm.
No.
Okay. Open up a shop in Miami. Monica goes with the customs police, I guess. This was fun. I don't care what the ratings say on it. It was wacky and ridiculous. Terrible. I mean, they're jumping over things. It's all street racing in cars, and it's just so over the top. You gotta watch number 3 with me, okay?
No,
this is a fun time, okay?
It's not for me at all.
Okay.
It's not for me.
I had a great time watching this.
You watch it, and I have to suffer through you telling me about it.
Have you seen Fast and the Furious 2, Electric Boogaloo? If you have, leave a comment down below. What'd you think of it? Was it good? Was it not so good? Was it really fun, hilarious? I had a great time watching this. It was wacky and ridiculous. And that was part 2 of The Power of Family, not starring Dominic Toretto.
Okay.